All right, hello everyone. Welcome to a very special holiday edition of our webinar series. This is Frank at Gooten. I'm joined here by Maddy Peck, our Director of Partner Success. Maddy, how are you?
I'm doing great, thanks Frank.
Awesome. So it doesn't exactly feel like it's holiday season. Seems like fall just started, but I saw a recent study, 40% of people start their Christmas shopping in October.
Wow, they have way more foresight than I do.
Actually, I was thinking these are the responsible people, the Maddy Pecks of the world, who are actually thinking ahead. Whereas I'm the opposite. I'm the type who are going to be emailing store owners, the day before, trying to see if packages are going to get here on time for Christmas.
Oh, you're those people. I'm sure some of our partners on the line have customers like you.
So the holiday season, it can be a hectic time for store owners. So we wanted to chat today about getting ahead, helping you keep informed. So Maddy, this time of year, store owners want to be sure they can rely on their print-on-demand providers for inventory, for making sure orders ship out on time. What has Gooten done to prep for the holiday rush?
Well, Frank, that's a great question. That's the first topic we're going to cover today. Just go through our agenda a little bit, but let's dive right in. So that's a question that we start asking ourselves actually January 2nd, typically. We all like to take a little bit of a break over the holidays and New Year's and relax, and then come back at the beginning of the year and say, okay, what worked, what didn't work, what are we going to do for the next holiday season? We're preparing all year to make sure that those few weeks, particularly between Thanksgiving and Christmas, go really well for not just us, but for you. I mean, we don't really succeed if you guys don't. So we prepare all year. Some of the things that we do on a more granular level is we actually do very detailed daily forecasts by product. So we do that for all of the products in our catalog for all of the vendors, and we work with them actually throughout the summer as they're sourcing upstream inventory. So the blank products they actually print on and the raw materials used for construction to make sure that they're actually sourcing enough to support our business. So that's an ongoing thing that we update these forecasts as we bring in new business, as you guys continue to grow. And that's something as we go into the holiday season, we're checking those daily to make sure that we're meeting our expectations and they're holding up to theirs in terms of actually having the physical products. On the Gooten side, we also start working on customer service optimizations, usually about April of the year. This year, we actually changed our entire customer support platform in February. We needed a platform that was going to grow better with us and service your needs better. So that started early this year. We've also brought on new team members. You'll notice some of them as you're interacting with them, just to make sure we have the capacity to get your questions answered. And we also really focused this year on making sure we have product and production redundancy in our network. So for anyone on the line who was affected by the Colorado timberline shutdown, you should notice from our email, unfortunately, we did have to discontinue a few products, but within about 36 hours, we had production rerouted for over 80% of our volume through Colorado timberline, through all of our top selling products. And that's something that, it wasn't unique to Colorado timberline. We now have that for pretty much every single major product category across wool art, textiles, apparel, where if something does happen, we're not constrained by the mistakes or some unfortunate situation at a certain vendor. So that's a really big thing we focused on this year. Make sure we have our tech in place, making ordering as easy as possible, and little enhancements that I'll actually talk about at the end of the call that should hopefully make your lives much easier from a customer support perspective. And on the vendor side, I've been very lucky to visit several of our vendors this year. Our team typically flies out to and visits all of our top manufacturers. And where we can't visit, we have in-depth phone calls and planning meetings. But what they're doing is they're going all the way up the supply chain, testing the reliability of the products. So anytime that they're actually sourcing these from overseas, they oftentimes go visit those manufacturers themselves. They do audits and compliance testing, do random sampling across all of their inventory, and essentially stress test the supply chain to making sure that everything is up to snuff and meeting the quality standards that you guys expect. A lot of them have also done pretty major IT overhauls and upgrades after last holiday season. So giving them the ability to look deeper into their own production lines, figure out where orders are. And most of our vendors now, especially the top ones with volume, all of them have screens up on the production floor. It's pretty cool to see actually, where you can see on the order level and go see like, okay, these are the red orders, these have to get out today. These are the orange orders, like these are getting close to being late, or these are kind of green, to give their production teams more visual cues to know where to focus. And most of our manufacturers, for anyone who's a manufacturing nerd, employ lean manufacturing as well. So making sure they're getting the most out of their team. So in terms of, I actually got a question here that I'd love to take while I'm talking. Quality control, what are we doing about this? So quality control is a question we get all the time. And with any print-on-demand product, there's always going to be some error rate, unfortunately. The Gooten error rate right now is at about 0.3%, I believe, but across all of our products, which means that less than 1% of products that we ship out have an error. Don't want to speak ill, but having Colorado Timberline out of our system has actually helped drive that number even lower because they struggled with a lot of reprints and misprints. But what we do about quality control is we like to have as much visibility into that process as we can and support our vendors from a tech side. So it seems pretty basic, but having at least a screen up at every production point where someone who's pulling an item off a machine or putting it into a package can actually check and see that it matches what was ordered. Pretty basic thing, but it's actually a lot of tech investment needed on the vendor side, and it requires that Gooten pass through our API a mock-up of your design and an image file that you submitted with it. So we put that in place at pretty much every single one of our major manufacturers, and where we don't have it in place, we have plans to have it up in the next couple weeks, because that significantly helps with the visual quality check process. And then most of our vendors also do, they do quality checks at every station. So as I said, they're pulling that off. They're scanning a barcode on the product, which you guys often don't see because they're usually removed once it's shipped. But they're scanning that barcode so it follows the item throughout the production line, make sure it's matching up to the order data. And they also do random quality checks. So depending on the product, it can get pulled either at any point during the production process or shifted out for what they call 100% QC, where they pull the product from the line and they do everything in terms of testing, the print quality, all of that stuff. So pretty rigorous quality check processes. I've seen some of them in real life. It's pretty amazing, all the way from textiles to wall art to apparel products. Each one's a little bit different, but I think the industry standard has just been, raising and raising and raising, where print on demand used to have such a negative connotation of that you're going to get all of these misprinted items, but the industry as a whole is getting better, and I think by how we select the vendors that we work with in our network, we're really only working the best and the brightest who are committed to delivering top quality. But great question, thank you for that. So just quickly, I don't want to go through this whole slide because we're going to share this at the end, but just a little timeline of events. So we talked about what we've been doing all year. I touched, very high level, like I could spend an entire day talking about all the prep that we've done. But just, for you guys and prepping you a little bit, and Frank's gonna get into this, October and where we're at now from September's perspective, there's a lot to be done on kind of finalizing the work in your store, updating your FAQs and customer service page, kind of confirming where you're gonna go for the rest of the year. So as we're prepping, we wanna give you guys as many materials we can on the marketing side and the partner success side to make sure that you're doing everything you can to set your store up for success. We're obviously QAing that on the production piece, making sure we have volumes, we have capacity, we have stock, we have the procedures in place, we have the technology, but really want to give you guys even more than just that because, if you're not selling and if you're not having a good holiday season, we won't either. And then really once you get into November, a lot of it's just about marketing and maintaining that momentum that you set up for yourself. And I think Frank's going to talk a lot more about like how you can get there and really deliver the best that you can to your customers, all the way through from marketing and top of funnel to conversion rates down to delivering really top-notch customer service. And I'll give you some tips and tricks too on how to succeed there.
And I think there's a great point on this slide here. In October, start strong with Halloween sales. I read something recently that Etsy came out with a statement that last year was the first year that searches for Halloween products exceeded searches for Mother's Day and Father's Day gifts.
Wow.
So people are really searching online now for Halloween products, things to spice up their home and costumes and things like that. So that's definitely something store owners don't want to overlook, and they still have some time to get those campaigns going.
Yeah, it's a great point, Frank. I've actually been working with some of our larger partners now on Halloween campaigns. It's not something I did previously, but people are, spending more, spending earlier, and it's actually a really great practice run before you get into Black Friday, Cyber Monday, and some of those really traditional big days. But before we move on, I actually just saw a really great question come in that I want to talk to. We're going to get more into this at the end of the conversation. But as we speak to kind of giving you your teams and your businesses the best assets that we can. A big part of that is product mockups and saleable product photography. So we now have released our new technology called Pro Previews, which gives you what I think is, in what we think is patent pending, the best product mockup technology on the market. So right now that's out for mugs. I got a question specifically on mugs. I wanted to call that out. But you should expect to see a lot more communications from us upcoming about all the work that we're doing on product mockups. We'll have all those up for you, so you can use those in holiday season. Right now mugs are live, so you can go on and create mugs in the Gooten platform now and get pretty amazing mockups. But just wanted to touch on that because I know that's always a question we get about creating marketing assets, adding new products. Like, are you guys going to give me the materials I need to make those saleable? And I'm super proud to say that we have those now, so you can start using them. Yeah, shameless plug, but I wanted to make sure I got that in there because it was an excellent question. All right. Question for me, Frank, or should I just talk about our awesome partner support team?
You can just
go
right on.
I'm just going to keep going then. So partner support. It's like we work all year, right? You know, you work 9 months, you work through September, you get your stores looking amazing, you're confident about your marketing plan, all these products are up. And then it's kind of, you know, you sit back and the orders start to come in. And it's super exciting, but customer support, all of a sudden, every person in Gooten, every person on your team, everyone's going to turn into a customer support agent. So how do you make this process efficient for yourself? How do you maximize it for your customers and make sure that they're feeling like they're taken care of and not feel totally overwhelmed? So when I talk to partners, a lot of times the thing that I hear from them is they just feel, you know, incredibly stressed about, like, oh, I'm gonna get so many emails, I'm gonna get so many questions, how do I prepare, what do I give people? And, you know, we feel the same. We get a lot of inbounds and inquiries during holiday season. So this year we've been trying to be super mindful about giving you some materials, so at least you have visibility into our policies, working with our team, and then can reflect those accordingly on your sites. So we have a support guide that's up on our website and a whole blog post. I really, really, really encourage everyone to read this. I can't say it enough, but it actually details every single one of our policies for all the different situations you might come across, all the way down to an order's lost in shipment, or it hasn't shipped yet, what do I do? Or I got a misprint, how does that work? And a bunch of tips and tricks about contacting our team. As I mentioned, we changed our support platforms. So we now actually have an option for you where you can create an account and log in to view your open tickets, which is pretty cool. It's a little confusing. It's not going to be the same login as your Gooten account. We don't have the whole single sign-on thing figured out quite yet, but should be super easy. You can just connect it with Gmail or whatever email provider you're using. Just make sure it's the same email that you use to submit your tickets. And then our agents can leave you notes if they're working on something. You can kind of see tickets as they go through the status, making sure that you're up to date on any questions you have for us. So that's been awesome. We also have added, I think, almost 50 new FAQ articles this year and really, really built out our knowledge base. There's a link to it here. It's the same place you can check your ticket status. We're constantly adding new articles. Actually, someone who's doing this basically full time now. So trying to give you as many resources as possible. And so one of the suggestions I always say to our partners is, you know, the worst position you can put yourself in is if you're offering something from a customer service perspective to your customers that we're not going to be able to support you on, right? So there's always exceptions to this. There's always going to be customer service refunds that you're going to give that we're not going to give, or, you know, credits or coupons off your next order. But just, I would really strongly encourage you to take a look at your policies. If you don't have an FAQ page, add one. You know, add the language that are going to give the people who are shopping with you the comfort that they need to know how it works. Like if I'm placing an item and an order and I know that I can't get I can't cancel that order in 24 hours, that's going to potentially change my behavior as a customer. So just try to make it as super clear as possible, and, you know, always ask our team if you need any help or have any clarifications about how any of this works. But that, I think, is like the #1 thing you can do to try to minimize that stress during the holiday season, because there's a lot you can't control. This is one of those things that you can actually get out ahead of, you can control it, you can update it, and it should make a world of difference. All right, Frank.
All right.
Over to you. Are you going to tell us what this gift is about?
Maddie's been asking me all day. She saw this.
So cute, the monkey, but like what?
So I'd like to jump in and talk about something briefly. First, I want to start by telling a story. You don't mind if I get a little personal?
Go. I love it when you get personal.
So believe it or not, I'm not the handiest man on the planet. If I have one weakness, it's having to fix things around the house when they go wrong. If something breaks, it tends to stay broken. However, years back, I bought a house. I was very excited. I had these boring white walls, and I had the great idea I was going to paint them this awesome burnt orange color.
It's very festive.
It was going to be amazing. However, this gift here, the monkey, was essentially me trying to paint these walls. I never painted walls before, but I thought, what was the big deal? Any idiot could do it. Turns out I couldn't. It was a disaster. Paint was everywhere. I was messing up the corners. It was taking me a long time. It was bad.
Yeah.
So luckily I called one of my handy friends, nice enough to come and help me out. So he took me to buy tarp for the floors, tape so that we could tape the edges so it wasn't getting on the ceiling or over electric outlets. So he taught me the importance of taking time to do the prep, do it the right way for the best results. That's a lesson that stayed with me throughout life and into marketing. Right. So I kind of wanted to discuss that today, how taping your edges relates to your campaigns this season. So I'm sure everyone has a whole bunch of ideas you want to try, which is great. Testing new products, new strategies, that's the only way you're going to learn and grow, by knowing what worked and what failed. So look forward to failing often. Failure is often a celebrated thing in marketing. There's a good line that if you're not failing, it means you're not innovating and you're not taking enough risks. So embrace failure this year is one lesson. So also I want to talk about the importance of setting up your campaigns and creating promotions, not just with the mindset of how much money I'm going to make, but how you can create a strategic way to document each campaign and each promotion in a way that gives you important data and results so that you can analyze and apply them to your future campaigns. So it starts with segmenting your audience, segmentation. How do you send the perfect message to the right person? So now's the time to have your contacts broken into lists. Hopefully throughout the year you've been accruing subscribers or using some way of collecting interest in your brand. This could include people who have bought from you in the past, people who may have put items in a cart but didn't complete the process. Maybe you can try different messaging for men versus women, or millennials versus baby boomers. It starts with doing the work of creating these lists that you have that you can so that you can create those targeted and personalized messages. And then what are you testing? Now's a great time, like I said, to try new products. Gooten has, 140 plus products in our catalog. Maybe there's an opportunity to repurpose a design onto a new product to target a different niche. When it comes to your actual campaigns, what design assets are you using? Maybe you want to do a test and see the difference between an email that has an image with a person interacting with your product versus having it nicely displayed on its own. So there's plenty that you can do. Of course, testing the actual copy of your campaigns, trying different calls to action, experimenting with tone. Maybe you find your customers respond better to humor versus what you've tried in the past. So something like that is a great thing to try. So again, this is all great and good, but none of it's going to matter unless you have a documented process to record what you're testing and what the results are. So I highly encourage everyone to create some sort of spreadsheet or whatever way works best for you to track every campaign and promotion you do in Q4 with this process that lets you keep track and document your successes and failures. So a lot of marketers do this. You may remember junior high, the scientific method. So a lot of this reflects what we learned back then, but it applies to how you run your marketing campaigns. So starting with the objective, what is the goal of running your campaign or promotion? What are you looking for? Is this something that is gonna be strictly for revenue, or is this gonna be a teaser campaign where it leads to a future promotion? If that's the case, then maybe what you're really trying to gauge is interest and engagement with that campaign. The next thing is your hypothesis. What do you think is going to happen when you run this? What are you hoping for? Then after that, it's the actual structure of setting up the experiment. Is this going to be an A/B test? Are you going to send a message to one message to 1,000 people versus another message to another 1,000? How are you going to set up the experiment so that it actually gives you the data that you're looking for? And then, of course, it's important to have the KPIs in advance, knowing what indicators you want to track so that you know what to optimize for in the future, having that in place ahead of time. So again, is it not just revenue, but what are all the factors that led to that sale that you can go back and track and see, oh, this is something that may have contributed. So let's try and optimize for this in the future, and let's include that. And then finally, once you run the campaign, what were the results? What was the outcome of the experiment? What ended up happening? That way you get the learnings that you need. What do you know now that you didn't know before? And then once you go through that process and finding the learnings, then it's about applying it to other channels. Now that you figured it out for this campaign, if it was an email, maybe now you go to your social media campaigns, your Facebook ads, and now you have documented evidence and proof of what you tried before that can work in some other way. So again, please think about how you can incorporate this method into your campaigns, because most importantly, when 2019 comes, you may not have the same type of traffic coming your way in Q1 as opposed to Q4, but you are going to have killer conversion rates because you tested, you documented your experiments, and you saw what worked and what didn't. And now you can invest more in campaigns that give you confidence in what you think will happen. So you did the work, you taped your edges, and now you have a process to help sustain revenue in 2019.
Thanks, Frank. That was awesome. I really like the analogy, and those are like actually like super actionable things I think you can take away, like literally start trying tomorrow.
I still outsource my painting because I think I'm just not a talented.
We can only be good at so many things, Frank. Knowing you the way I do, it's not surprising you have one weakness. All right, so kind of marketing's never aside, it's always like the bread and butter, but I want to get a little bit back into some just like more tactical stuff, resources. Does that sound good for you?
Perfect.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So just, kind of thinking through this again. So we talked a little bit about what we've been doing to prep. Frank's giving you, I think, some awesome tips on marketing. We're talking about timeline, like what to expect, what not to ignore. And again, this will all be sent out again. But I always get, and I know everyone's like, all right, cut to the chase. What are the resources? What are you giving me? When are you giving it to me? How am I gonna use this? What's coming? So let's get into the meaty stuff here.
Meaty greedy.
The meaty greedy, if that's a new phrase. So first things first. This year we are going to have a holiday 2018 landing page. This is going to be in every single one of our customer service agents' email signature. It'll be sent out to you over email a bazillion times. We're going to have it linked in actual Gooten when you log in. I'll talk about the new release that's coming up. That's going to be our central source of truth for like all holiday related announcements. So that's everything. We're going to have the order cutoff dates. We're going to have new product announcements, new resources, blog posts, anything you need to know from the Gooten team we'll have there. We're also working on a way to have like in-app messaging for you as well. So if you log into Gooten and there's something we really need you to know, we're going to try to surface that to you so you don't have to feel like you're always waiting through your email. But that's the big thing to call out here. The Gooten Support Center, I talked about this as well. That's our FAQ page where you can log in and check your ticket status. Super important resource to have available. I also linked here too, we have past webinars. So anyone's new to Gooten, if you want to just check out some of our old webinars, kind of figure out the lay of the land, that's a great thing to check out in our blog. We add new blog articles like every week, basically. So there's always new content on there. And it's usually a mix of like guides, more tactical tools, a lot of stuff on marketing, expanding into new channels, usually some product highlights. We announce Gooten updates on there as well. So good mix of content, and you can just peruse that, read or like new articles, old articles, pretty great resources. So now to get into some specific announcements, and I think I'm going to address some of the questions that we're getting here too. But let's talk a little bit about holiday cutoff days and order days. Because I know that's the big question that always comes in is like, when do I need to stop selling? What do I need to tell my customers, etc. So if anyone who's on the call who was with us last year, we did this like by product, by ship method. So really big long list. You kind of have to sort through and figure out, okay, I'm selling this and I'm selling this, like what's my cutoff date? This year, we're going to give this information to you in what we think is a much easier and more digestible format. It's going to be this infographic. It's going to describe how order cutoff days work, how the shipping methods work, and we're going to give you ranges. So again, nothing is guaranteed. You could, the world could end and a manufacturer could burn down and you could submit an order tomorrow and it might not arrive by Christmas, right? I'm being dramatic, but the point is once you get into that busy season, it's often not even the vendor that is late. The shipping couriers can be late, can lose packages. It's a lot of moving variables, and we do our best to control what we can. But everything that we're going to send to you, everything that we are giving to you in terms of order cutoff dates are all our best estimates based off of historical knowledge, what we've seen previously. We do a ton of analysis on the data in our system about average shipping times, average production times. So we give you that so you know what to expect. And then if you're super conservative and you want to say, nope, my cutoff is on the earlier end of the spectrum for standard shipping, that's totally fine. If you're more aggressive and you want to go toward the later end, also totally fine. But they're all going to be guidances, and we'll make a suggestion to you on what we think is appropriate. So that you should look for your email probably later this week, and that'll be all sent out, and it will be on our holiday page, which will also send to you then. And now on products, I got a question here on iPhones and a couple other product questions. So I'm going to start with tree skirts and stockings. We're going to have those available for you. They're lovely. They're very cute. Those will be up for the holiday season, again, probably later this week. The new iPhone models should also be up, I believe, this week. We don't release those until our vendors had enough time to do sufficient testing with the actual physical phone in their hand, because the last thing we want to do is sell a bunch of those that don't fit. But those are on the radar. Those should be out this week. We also added today some new pillow shams. If anyone's selling pillow shams, they're quite lovely. They're slightly different colors. Now we have cream and white. We're gonna have a new dog bed coming out soon, which is really nice. It's like very high quality. We have our fleece one still, and then we're gonna have a little bit one that's a little bit more kind of durable and bigger too, if you have a bigger dog, which is great. We also have a new card vendor for flat and folded cards. They also do our posters now. And the really cool thing about our new card vendor is the actual folded cards come in they come like individually packaged in little sleeves. So they're basically boutique ready. And we have a lot of our partners who do wholesale as well as print on demand. And so it's really nice because the cards come basically ready to purchase if you're selling them to someone in a brick and mortar store. And they also, if they arrive to your customer directly, they're going to come nicely packaged in a little sleeve with the card and the envelope. So it looks a little bit more like a gift item. And those sell really well during the holiday season. So if you're not selling holiday cards, consider it. And you'll also get an email from us later this week kind of announcing all of these changes, updates, all that stuff. So those are really cool. I'm just going to check questions recently here too about any other product. Oh, looks like we're good. Some on shipping, which we'll get to next. Other updates just for you guys to know about. We now have an integration with advanced shipping rules. So if anyone on the call is selling on Shopify, you can now download the advanced shipping rules plugin, and that will pull in all of the shipping information from Gooten automatically. So your days of like sorting through spreadsheets and shipping rates should be over, which is huge. I'm thrilled about this because I know it's a huge pain point for our partners. So that's out. We're going to also have that come out in our newsletter recently. It's upcoming.
Yeah, we have a big shipping newsletter with a whole bunch of great shipping information that people are going to be excited about. So keep the eye out for that. Yeah, that's upcoming for Shopify partners. That should be a huge help. It'll also detail all of the shipping options available with it, like expedited shipping, standard shipping, what you guys can use, how much it costs, a whole bunch of updates on flat rates, what you're being charged, etc. So that's super cool. And then in terms of like actual Gooten tech and what we're working on, we have a couple of other really cool releases. So one is going to be Gooten Home. We're going to add I don't even know how to describe it. It's a homepage. It's you log into Gooten and it's a homepage and it's resources and like anything you need to know about Gooten. And it's your greetings for you and messaging, and it's curated for where you're at in your life cycle with us. So that's going to be coming out soon. We're making some updates to our image editor, which would be nice. Like I said, pro previews, releasing new mock-ups. If you haven't checked out our mugs, please go look at them. They're gorgeous. And I will let everyone on the call know, this is not totally public yet, we are working on an Etsy integration. So right now, our Etsy partners, for the most part, either upload CSVs to place their orders or use our place an order tool. Some people also sell an order desk.
But we right now have an engineer who's working on integrating directly to Etsy. So hopefully that, I know he said it's not a very like developer friendly platform, which, you know, it's Etsy, it's for store owners, not engineers, but he's working on that. So we're hoping to have that out as well, because I know a ton of you sell on Etsy. It's a huge marketplace, which is super cool news. So that's great. And then, oh, one other thing, actually, it's a small item, but I know it's important. Where we can, we're going to be using your business address as the return address on the label. That just become bigger in the holiday season because of the volume of packages. So that should help a lot. So like you guys can deal with returns or reships, or if you want to just run a sale on anything that couldn't deliver, you'll get those. Yeah. All right, I'm going to pause and take a look at questions because I'm seeing a ton coming in here. Okay, let's go back to, all right. Shipping. Okay, so shipping, if you guys go to our support.gooten.com, there is an article on flat shipping. All the rates in there are correct, and where we add new rates, those will be both sent to you so you know what they are and added to that sheet. Let's see. I also see a question about, oh, shipping app. Yeah, we'll send you guys an email about the advanced shipping rules. That's what it's called, advanced shipping rules. It's on here. You can download it. I think you have to pay for it. It's worth it though. Honestly, the amount of headache it will save you.
It's $9 a month. So
okay. Yeah, I would pay triple that to not ever have to talk about shipping. But yeah, great app. They have an integration with us, and we're gonna have tutorials and stuff that come out. Let's see, pro previews coming to the iPhone. At some point, yes, probably not this fall. Our iPhone mockups are actually pretty good. Right now they're flat, but you know, you can see the phone. A lot of our partners use them with success. But if there are specific products that people have questions about for mockups, please, you can just email Frank and he'll make sure that gets to the right team. We have a question here about custom inserts. That's also on our roadmap. Where we can do that right now. Well, we can kind of do that. If you have a really big volume like Canvas business or something, we can make that happen for you. But we're opening that up to as many products as we can to all of our partners. But our design team's working on that. I don't know if it'll be ready before Black Friday, but it might. I can check on that. And then one question about the return. So usually if a package is still returned to our vendor for whatever reason, most of the time our account contact there will email our support team, and then they'll say, hey, do you want us to reship that or what? And then we'll email you. If most of these vendors aren't really equipped to handle returns. In some instances, it's unfortunate, but the package is destroyed. So actually, the best answer to that question is if you go to our support guide, where there's a whole section on return packages. I would just, suggest going to our blog, reading the support guide, and that can give you everything you need to know about returns. Okay, I'll pause for a second. Any other questions on any of these announcements that anyone has? Oh, here's one. Will there be a way to update shipping addresses before ourselves for the item ships? So this is a really great question. Here's the way it works from a technical perspective. So once the package has gone to the vendor, so basically that package of like the order data, right, in our system goes to the vendor through our technical connection, through our API. At almost every vendor, we can't make a change after that. We have we can't log in and make that change. It's like a one-way street if you think like that. Once it leaves the station, you kind of have to chase after it running. There's not a way to recall the information back, and that's a limitation right now of kind of the vendor and Gooten, frankly. It's just a technical thing that we're going to work on fixing. There are some vendors where we can make changes through like a separate portal. It's very rare. If you're selling travel bags, we can probably help you. So right now, we don't have a good way to update the shipping address other than to basically, like I said, run after the car and hope it stops, which in our case is sending an email. As you can imagine, at most of these vendors during holiday season, they're shipping, for example, 55,000 t-shirts a day, and they're also getting a lot of emails. So it's kind of hit or miss on if you can update that shipping address. That's one of those customer service items where it's like you're kind of in this position of, okay, my customer places this order 2 days ago, it's going to ship out tomorrow. They really want to update the address. I want to help them. I email Gooten. The agent also wants to help you, but it's kind of like, yeah, we can't really do that because it's like it's a needle in a haystack type of thing. If there was a technical way to do it, then yes. But unfortunately, the answer, especially during holiday season, for most kind of order changes or updates, which is like, I want to change the size, or I want to update the shipping address, or stuff like that, there usually isn't a good solution to it, which is unfortunate, and we want to help you. And a lot of times we will try to email that vendor and say, hey, can you help us out? But even if they want to help us too, and they're running around the production floor trying to grab a package or make manual overrides, it might not be possible. And yes, support.gooten.com should be working. It's already up and live. If you're having trouble accessing it, let me know. But yeah, that's up. Okay, moving on, a couple things just to talk about on the physical product side, because at the end of the day, that's what everyone's doing. We're all selling physical products. Get lost in all the other stuff. So some of my favorites.
Ooh, this is my favorite part.
Frank, you can chime in here too, but these are some ideas that I have and I've seen have worked really well. First thing, travel bags. Anyone who has not checked out their travel bags, they're gorgeous. They're actually very reasonably priced too for the type of product that they are. They do ship from China, beware. So that means if you're selecting standard shipping, it can take a little bit of time. We do have expedited available, which typically delivers to the US in 3 to 5 days. I recommend that for the most part. They're really lovely.
The quality on them is
I know. I'm like buying one for myself. Aprons. We just got new aprons. These are full print aprons. Frank tried one on. We took some pictures of him yesterday. He looked really great. Really great gift item. Our normal sweatshirts and our new Oliver print shirts. I've seen some partners do some really creative things with those, like all ugly holiday sweaters, like crazy, funny Oliver print t-shirt designs. So those are kind of great dad gift items, a lot for that office party or for your like weird cousin, Infant Sherpa blankets. I know the holidays is always a really exciting time to announce a new member to the family. So a lot of people are shopping for that new member who's already arrived or for on the way. So they're lovely. We sell a ton of those. They're actually our best selling blanket, fun fact, our Infant Sherpa blankets. Tote bags, Frank talked about Halloween. Positioning those as custom trick or treat bags. I've seen really cute stuff done there too. And those are really cute gift items for kids as they're going out trick or treating. You can make them custom too if you're using different images. Laundry bags as Santa sacks. One of our vendors suggested this to me. I was like, really? And they're like, oh yeah, we do all these like custom Santa sacks that are actually laundry bags that sell really well. Our tapestries make really great backdrops for like holiday photos. So imagine you have a holiday gathering or a party, you have a bunch of people over, hang up a tapestry and have people take pictures in front of it. It can be customized to your event. It's a kind of a more like, you see a lot of those on Etsy, but you'd be amazed at how many people sell those and do really well. Porcelain ornaments, those are a standby. People always ask me what's the best selling ornament. It is 100% the porcelain ornament. Those are printed edge to edge, front and back. We have a couple different shapes, like a star or circle, it might be a heart. Those are really great. Just be wary of really fine lines and text, because the way those are printed, it's like paper. If anyone did the iron-on patches when you were a kid, how it's a little bit like fuzzy. It's transfer paper, so if you're printing really fine text or really fine details on those, it can look a little bit fuzzy. So bigger is better in terms of like graphics and words if you're going to print on the ornaments. And then wall calendars, don't forget, this is like the only time of year to sell wall calendars, right? Because you're not going to sell any of those in July. So check out our wall calendars. We have downloadable templates on our product catalog, so you don't have to worry about creating those. Just add your artwork. And then, got a question here about women's apparel. We do have women's tees right now. They're all in our apparel section, so a bunch of different women's cuts. We have the crew neck versions, we have V-necks. We also have some models that are just women's, like tank tops. There's a flowy next level top that's really cute. So we have those. And then the sweatshirts and hoodies are unisex, unfortunately, so they're a little bit more boxy. But if that's something that's important to your brand and to some other brands, we can look on adding those next year. We don't, as a rule, add any new products once we get into October. It's just not fair to you. Because at that point, we won't have been able to do the forecasting and the prep work to ensure that there's adequate production capacity. So we love to hear your ideas in the holiday season, but we don't add new products to our catalog because it's just too much risk on our side and yours. Any questions, Frank?
I think tote bags for trick or treating is such a great idea.
Yeah.
Just think of like having a custom tote bag that matches your costume or something like that.
So cute.
Such a great idea. So yeah, think about what kids and adults are going to be wearing.
Oh, and the youth shirts I've seen. I actually had to do this the other day. My cat had a doctor's procedure, so we put a baby onesie on her to keep her from licking the wound.
Adorable.
But people do hilarious stuff with the youth and baby shirts on animals. And like the onesies, I mean, cats do not want to be in a onesie, but dogs would probably like it a little bit better. So those are fun. There's a lot of creative stuff you can do with our product catalog.
Yeah, so yeah, we recommended yourself just go through our catalog and check out the products and think how you can repurpose them for other seasonal
I saw someone selling dog beds as floor pillows. I was like,
that works.
Brilliant. Great idea. Yeah, and they're durable, right? They're comfortable. Why not, right? It's really smart.
No one has to know it's a dog bed, right?
No, right? It's whatever you market it as.
Perfect.
Okay, so I think that's probably all on our agenda for today. I think we hit on everything major. Happy to stop and take more questions if there are any. Oh, I see another one about apparel here. Don't want to skip over this. Let's see. Women's crop tops, sweatshirts. Oh, that's a great idea. Those are super trendy right now, and we have gotten several requests for them. Unfortunately, yes, they are very popular with teenagers. Again, it's a timing thing. I would love to add those, but it's not going to be a 2018 thing. We do have a product marketing manager though, and she's doing our whole product roadmap for 2019. So I think apparel is going to be a big chunk of that. So I'll make sure she hears that feedback because I want those too. They're pretty cute. All right, a couple other things. How can you change the name of products like dog beds, pillows? Great question. So whoever asked this, it really doesn't matter if you're selling on Shopify, if you're selling on Etsy or Woo, or you're using our API, wherever you sell, you can change the name of the product when you publish it to your store, or when you create that product listing, right? So Gooten's going to tell you what we think that thing is called, right? We think it's called a dog bed. But if you wanted to go in and if you're selling on Shopify, for example, you can name your listing whatever you want. So you can call it like, artsy floor pillow. You can update your option values. So you can make it, fleece or whatever size and completely position it as whatever product that you want. And then, if your mock-up shows that dog bed, if you order one for yourself and take a picture or two of it being used as a floor pillow, you can position it however you want, and you have full kind of leeway to edit those product names however you want. The only thing we suggest you don't change in the Shopify is just that actual SKU name. Your customers don't see that anyway. It's back-end data. But if you change your SKU name, it might break the connection of the published. But all of the other data you can update. You can call it whatever you want. All right, question. Will iPhone cases be eligible for expedited shipping? Yeah, I believe they will. I think we have both standard and expedited available. Okay, great. Yeah, I think that's probably.
Yeah, we're a little over our time.
About our time.
I think it's time to wrap it up. So.
Yeah, send us any questions that we didn't cover. Frank and I are probably going to do a couple of these.
Oh yeah.
I think.
Especially as we get closer to November. We'll definitely be checking in and doing another one of these and updating everyone on shipping, products, support, new guides, and things like that. So keep an eye out for those invitations, and keep an eye out for all the exciting things that we have coming on the way. Yeah, I know. We're gonna have to announce. We have in the next 2 weeks so many things to announce. So we're gonna try to make it digestible, but it's the culmination of a lot of work. So. All right, Maddy, thank you so much. You are a wealth of knowledge, and really appreciate you taking time to put this together and inform our partners. So, and everyone, thank you so much for joining us today. We hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you guys later.